My name's Richard Eilers. I'm a certified archaeological technician supporting laboratory activities for the Archaeology and Collections Branch. My job here consists of a number of what I call the INGs: washing, picking, sorting, bagging, tagging, and if we find something while we're picking, sometimes we do a little bit of grinning. But that happens when an extraordinary find occurs. When we talk about picking, we normally go through screens, which regulate the size of what's the pass-through. And in the field, we normally talk about quarter-inch screens. The material that passes through, in many cases, is brought back and washed through window screen, which is, that's super fine mesh. That material is then dried and bagged. It's brought in here. Why are we interested? We can have faunal remains. We can have floral seeds. So all of those types of materials are the purview of the people who are doing the picking. We identify them, we bag them, tag them, and then they're put into collection. The washing side of the house is pretty self-explanatory. The material comes in from the dig in brown paper bags, which are annotated with all of the necessary information. We then take all of those materials and we clean them so they can be identified. If you're taking a piece of ceramic that's got all kinds of discoloration, you wash it off. Why? Because you want to see both what the external finish is, but you want to see what the basic raw material is. Because it could be a Delft, sort of a pinkish color, or it could be a pearlware. Well, the finishes may look pretty similar, but the basic paste are much different. And so that level of discrimination requires very clean objects. As my wife would say, you're spending your time over there washing broken pieces of glass? But the reality is, when these dirty artifacts come in, other than the people in the field, you're the first one to see them. You get to see them, you get to clean them, and you get to inspect them. And sometimes there's some very, very rare finds. And that's an exciting part. I wonder if that's porcelain. See how nice and white the... I'm honored to receive the award because it reflects a respect for the people, the professionals I work with, to put the time in to write a successful nomination. For Daphne and Elizabeth to do that says they respect what I do, they appreciate what I do, and I thank them for it.
So down here, I want you to see how overgrown this tree is. It's so overgrown that I don't even know what's underneath it. So down in this area, we've got a lot of invasive vines really covering the trees. There's porcelainberry, there's native grape, there's some invasive trees here too, like this Bradford pear. It's very relaxing cutting vines, doing these battles. It's nice to be out in nature while you're doing it. This is my minute plant, and it's got a lot of thorns on it. The Laurel Hill Park Volunteer Team is a group of individuals dedicated to keeping the park beautiful and well-maintained, either by picking up trash, rescuing trees, keeping an eye out for invasive species that are getting too strong a hold on the area, but overall, just keeping our wonderful park as beautiful as it can be. We started several different kinds of events. In the beginning, when we first started, we did typical trash pickup events. And we did pretty well. We got huge bags of trash. That was wonderful. Next, we tackled kudzu projects. It's man against vine. Oh, he's got it. Which were tackling invasive kudzu vines that were climbing on fences and obscuring historic buildings that were here when this area was part of a prison farm. And the vines on the fences have their own kind of strange beauty. So we worked to pull the vines, cutting them at the bottom, pulling them off the fence so the historic buildings were visible again. And then the third project we've been working on, and probably my favorite, has been the removal of invasive vines, both native and non-native, from trees.
We went out and found a cedar tree that was just buried in vines. You could barely make out the tree. So we spent all morning and we clipped the vines just like we were supposed to. We started at the bottom, but we also clipped the vines out of the canopy of the tree. And this beautiful tree emerged that nobody would be able to see normally because it was just covered. And when we left, we started walking up the trail and we turned around and we took one last look at what we had done. And I swear I heard the tree breathe a sigh of relief. It was so glad that we had been there.
It's an honor to receive the award and frankly a surprise because we're such a new team.
It's always nice to be recognized. And one of the things I hope comes from this is other people will see us out here working in the park and they'll be inspired to do the same.
My name is Tom. I'm a volunteer starter here at Laurel Hill Golf Club. My job is to get the course ready for the players in terms of the golf carts and getting everybody off on time, making sure they're in the right time slots, making sure they have everything they need to start play. The morning routine is basically pulling the carts up for the day. It can be anywhere near to 50 carts or more, and making sure the carts have scorecards, pencils, sand, nothing terribly mundane about that. And then we get ourselves set up in terms of the tee sheet and making sure all the golfers are ready to go at their time. And from there, we just meet and greet the golfers and get them to the proper cart, get them from there out on the course on time. I became a volunteer for the social aspect of it. When I retired, I just wanted to broaden my friendships, and so I did that. I came over here and it worked out. It's been great.
Okay, you can go to the first tee.
Okay.
Pin position today is number 1.
I'm honored to receive this award because for the manager of the course, Ryan, to actually go out of his way to say thank you in this special way, to actually take the time to write me up for this award, that's really special, and I appreciate it.
I'm Steve Johnson. I'm the artistic director for the Bluegrass Barn Concert Series, and I'm responsible for bringing the bands to the shows and being an onstage MC the night of the performance. It's not easy to pick the bands. Some of the bands I want to bring in, we can't afford. Some of the bands just aren't available for geographic reasons, but it boils down to bringing in the best entertainment we can for what we can afford that our audience wants to see. It requires knowing about what bands are out there, so I'm constantly listening to bluegrass music and going to as many shows as I can, going to bluegrass festivals, and also to the International Bluegrass Award Show down in Raleigh whenever I can. It's surprising how many partnerships have to be made in order to make this happen. Some of the partnerships are with the musicians themselves because they know me and they might be willing to come play the park where they wouldn't come play for a stranger. I love bluegrass music, and when the opportunity came to be involved in putting on the shows, I was very excited about it. I think we're bringing some entertainment to the audience that they wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Some of the bluegrass venues in the area have shut down, have stopped providing bluegrass music. So it's getting harder to find good live shows, and I think we provide a valuable service to the community by doing that. I'm honored to receive the award because I'm being recognized for doing the work that I love to do. Where else could I get an opportunity to promote bluegrass music shows and to be an MC other than here for the Park Authority?
I get up at 4:45 to get here from 6 to noon every Tuesday. I decided to volunteer at Burke Lake Golf Range about 3 years ago because my husband became very involved with golf and he was spending a lot of time here. And he wanted to volunteer, but his work hours didn't allow it, so I volunteered. On Tuesdays is maintenance day on the range. The range is closed until we are finished cleaning up the range. One of the things we do is we go out in the picker and we pick up clean up all the balls off of the range so the maintenance guys can come and cut the grass and do everything they have to do on the range. And then Garth and I will hand pick balls as well. So after we're done out on the range, I try to clean up the mats just by making them straight, making it look nice so it's welcoming and people want to come. It looks all organized and cleaned up. My favorite thing task-wise is when I first get here first thing in the morning, 6 o'clock, and I go out onto the range and it's cool and there's nobody out there and there's birds everywhere and butterflies everywhere and I'm alone and it's nice. It's very nice. You know, I know there are a lot of people in Fairfax County that work, volunteer for the Park Authority that give their time and effort, and I enjoy what I'm doing, so to be recognized for it is just a bonus.
The National Charity League is a mother-daughter organization that focuses on the mother-daughter bond through cultural experiences, philanthropic experiences, and leadership opportunities. The Park Authority, because of its limited budget, needs volunteers to run their programs. Our chapter supports Frying Pan Park, Cub Run, Sully Historic Site, and Eleanor Lawrence. So we support Frying Pan's various events, the 4-H Festival, the Christmas parties. We go into Cub Run's watershed and clean up trash. We celebrate and support Sully's historic antique auto show every year, and we work with the naturalist at Eleanor Lawrence on habitat preservation. We are so honored to receive this award because it shows to us that our volunteer efforts are very important to the parks and have made a meaningful impact.